Hi, this is Karen from Mojo Global. Welcome to the Mojo Global radio show. Today we have as our honored guest, Jim Boghos. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you. Can you tell our listeners about your business?
Sure. Yes, sir. Verity Search is a consulting and search firm specializing in mortgage banking and real estate finance. What we do, Karen, is we're sort of dual agents in that we help companies grow and capture market share by attracting the top talent. But at the same time, we help individuals by helping guide them to better opportunities and maximize their career prospects, earnings, and income, things of that nature.
Thank you. Could you give us a couple of examples or an example of how you've been able to help someone?
Sure. Yeah. So typically, what we do through active outreach is we reach out to folks, and sometimes they reach out to us. But for the most part, what we're trying to do is build a relationship with them that goes beyond just a transaction. We're not necessarily calling them to recruit them and place them in a position that very day, but more to understand what is important to them, what they're maybe kind of potentially missing where they're at, where they're working right now, any potential shortfalls that we can help identify, and then find that forever home, that place where they can maximize their earnings. As an example, it just very recently spoke with someone that was an individual contributor closing about $8 to $10 million a month in real estate transactions, not real estate, but actually mortgage transactions. I happen to know that his company wasn't very price competitive in the marketplace. And I also knew that he was struggling from an operations perspective. His company wasn't really supporting his efforts. And as a consequence, he was having, when you don't service a referral customer, guess what happens? Your referrals kind of start to slow down and don't come in as frequent. But when you take care of your referral customers, when your realtors refer a buyer that has an easy, smooth transaction and it goes through and the real estate agent is happy and the customer is happy, the home buyer is happy, well, guess what happens? You get a lot more referrals. So it's important to be in a company that can support you from that perspective. Money is a byproduct of that. You never lead with money, but money, we keep score for a reason, and that's how we keep score. What I really did with him was I aligned him with a company that I really believe in, that I've been to, I've visited, I've looked under the hood. I've evaluated all of the various components of the company, from operations to sales to support to capital markets. And what's really cool about this is he was at the same company for about 8 years, finally stepped out in faith and believed what I was telling him, did his own due diligence, of course, but in month 2, he closed $24 million, which is over double what he had made in any previous month at his past company. So about a month later, he called me and he said, "I'm mad at you." And I said, "Oh, what are you mad at me for?" He said, "Because you knew about this company for how long, and you took this long to tell me about it." So, the guy is extremely ecstatic. He's making almost $300,000 a month right now, whereas before he was making about 60 to 80 grand a month.
That's a terrific story, Jim. And I know that you have many deep-rooted relationships in your industry. And I am hoping that you will tell us, you could have done anything in your life. Why did you choose this?
I don't think anybody grows up as a little boy wanting to be a recruiter in the mortgage business. It was something that was presented to me as an opportunity. I knew that my calling was interfacing with people. I've always had the desire to make a difference, to help nurture others, help them to realize their true potential. And again, just making a difference. And in my role here, I get to make a difference for companies and for individuals. So it's rewarding on both sides of the fence. And no 2 days are the same here. And I've been doing this, this has captured my attention now for 30 years. So every day is fulfilling and rewarding.
That's so nice to hear. A lot of times I speak with entrepreneurs who have even forgotten why they started doing what they're doing. It's very refreshing to hear you speak. And you're also a podcaster, right?
I am. And that kind of plays along with the question you just asked me. The name of the podcast is actually called Difference Makers. And what we do is we look for people that challenge the status quo, that make good companies great, or have uncovered some secret to personal wisdom and have gained some insight or some perspective that they can share with others that might be struggling in those same situations, from PTSD to discovering meditation. Or one of my recent guests was attacked by a grizzly bear and lived to tell the story and his perspective on life afterwards. And he was a mortgage CEO, and he's actually since retired, and he's taken on ministry full time. And those types of stories, they give you chills, and I love it because it just allows me to go that one step further of making a difference for others by taking other people's experiences and highlighting them.
I know I'm going to look for that podcast. It sounds really fantastic. And Jim, if one of our listeners wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Well, the best way is to either go to our website at veritysearch.com or maybe send an email to confidential@veritysearch.com. We are extremely confidential with all of our conversations because of the nature of what we do. Obviously, I would want everybody to understand that. There's no fear there. And people sometimes ask me, like, when is a good time for them to contact me, or when should someone contact me? And I would say this, my answer to that is the best time to call me is when you don't need to make a job change. When you feel like, okay, things are going pretty good here, but could they be better elsewhere? You don't go to the doctor only when you're sick. You go for checkups, you go for preventative maintenance. And in this situation, I think it's best to talk to someone like myself when you don't have to make a change, because you're not in a situation where you make a desperate decision. You can actually sit back, make a healthy decision. That, to me, seems to be the best way to do it. Not to say I can't help people that are, potentially in a 911 situation and need some help. Always willing to do that. But when you can take your time and really analyze and gain a good perspective on all of the pluses and minuses of making a move, that's the time to really be looking at it, when you don't have to.
Jim, that makes complete sense. And it's truly been an honor for me to interview you today. And we thank you so much for being on the Mojo Global Radio Show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Karen.
You're welcome. And to our listeners, we always appreciate you. And we look forward to making the next Mojo Global Radio Show. Bye-bye.